Your newspaper headlines from some parts of the continent. Blaine?
Yeah, Desiree, one of our big stories today is the SABC will today release the findings of a year-long probe into alleged editorial interference. Our reporter Mahlako Komane is here to give us some of the background on this report. Mahlako, it is a very, very important report. What sparked it?
Yeah, it's a very important report, as you correctly mentioned, Blaine. You must remember that when this report, before the releasing, before the inquiry was set up, there were various allegations going around, especially with some political parties. I know the EFF was also party to make submissions in this inquiry, saying that they were not getting fair coverage from the SABC. You understand that SABC is a public broadcaster. It is not it's not meant to be picking any particular side, but with any media house, it's supposed to disseminate information that is accurate, that is fair, that is not informed by one or the other political party. Them saying that there were instructions that were given that certain visuals shouldn't be covered. They shouldn't cover certain events of the EFF. That was one of them as well. And I think another thing that perhaps also did give rise to this was the issue of the SABC 8. We know that the then acting CEO had then given that instruction that violent protests should not be shown, and editorial staff at the SABC feeling that that was an infringement of some sort on what was the core of their job, that any newsroom should be editorially independent. It shouldn't be taking favors from any one particular side. So it's just been those many issues where people were feeling that it would seem that the SABC editorially is leaning or is getting is taking instructions from somewhere else except from its editors who make the decisions. We know that the editorial process here at the SABC is very rigorous. Ideas are moved back and forth, and that's what it should be. It shouldn't be that a phone call has been made. So it's probing to see if there was any form of favors of any political interference. We also know that the SABC did announce a few months ago that they were concerned about the coverage of the VBS saga, that was also going to be investigated. I'm just not sure if it's forming part of today's report, whatever will be contained in today's report, yes.
Deciphering the news and how it ought to be reported is what we do. It's our job, isn't it? And if that is ceded to politicians and owners of media companies, then it's you lose the trust of your viewer. And it's very, very hard to get that back. So this is a really critical report in order to see where we faring in that regard. Joe Tlolwe was very much involved in this. Do we know how he went about doing his job, or how he compiled this report?
Well, what I do understand was that various parties were invited to come and make submissions, from the unions to your political parties, anybody that felt they had an interest or unfairly treated as a result of the editorial decisions that were then made. And I think you make quite an important decision, that editorial independence is very important in what we do. You understand the reach of the SABC is quite huge, and it thus cannot be seen to be taking any favors but from any political party or any particular individual be siding with one person. That ours is to tell the truth and inform the public. You'd also see that the SABC, when the new management or the new newsroom management came in as well, going very hard on this thing of saying that we're impartial, we're independent, because a lot of people having said that they're not really sure as to what they're getting out of the SABC, and SABC trying to go back and make inroads to say, listen, things have happened in this organization, but we are here to do our job, and we're doing it as impartially and without favor to anyone. And I think that's the new drive that we're getting from the SABC in this particular newsroom as things stand right now. Yeah,
it takes, I guess, gutsy journalists, and I'm talking generally across all newsrooms in South Africa, to stand up to their bosses or media politicians, media owners, to stop what some would say is a pernicious attack on journalism. A lot of role players, interested parties looking at this report, accountability is key for them, isn't it?
Yes, it's very key, and also we're hoping that, because this has taken about 15 months, I think it was announced last year, May, when this process was said to have started, and we're hoping that in this 15 months we're going to have, because many inquiries come out, but we then don't have what is it that's going to happen afterwards. Like you're saying, accountability, somebody must be held accountable to show the next person that this is not acceptable, this is not how it works. And yes, a lot of journalists have put themselves on the line to ensure that the stories that they put out there are as impartial as can be, and they're not seen to be on anyone's brown envelope journalism type of situation. So it's going to be very interesting to see what's going to come out of this report. Are we going to have names? Are we going to have, to understand that this is where things went wrong, so you know where to fix if there are any gaps, how do we close them?
All right, Mahlako, thank you very much indeed for your reporting, Mahlako Komane, there on this very important report that happens. Well, we were told it's going to be released around 10 o'clock or so. So when that happens, we'll bring that to you live. We're going to take a quick break, get you more news next.